Hey there, folks. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd appreciate it if you'd be willing to check out my sponsor, Dubby at G.I.G, for their energy drink products. They're more of like a powder that you can put into water that can be used to replace buying carbonated energy drinks and sodas. My favorite that they have is the Dragonade. I like it a lot. I'm probably going to get more of it soon. But if you're just trying to dip your toes in, they do have a sampler bundle that you can get that comes with a tumbler that you can use for mixing your drinks. You can go on over to w.gg or the link down in the description and use the code THEGIG, the gig, in order to get a 10% discount. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey there, folks. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. So I didn't think I'd be making a discussion about this particular subject at any point ever, mostly because the person and company that this really covers isn't very much into my realm of things, because their stuff has always been more about rewards and giving away free stuff and trying to be charitable, at least from what I have seen, as well as creating game shows and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure with just those few sentences, someone has already picked up on what I'm talking about if they didn't read the title, which would be a little odd. But talking about Mr. Beast in that situation. And it's not generally my realm. I mean, there are a couple things that come from that group that are my realm, which is gaming, but the general scope of things is not. Doesn't mean I don't have opinions, though I won't espouse every opinion I have on every little minute detail from what's been going on. I'm just going to give a quick general overview of how I think things look. 2024 has been a heck of a year. Content creators being outed for messing with children, outed for, even though this happened before, outed for stealing money from charities, like lying about what they're giving people things and taking them away. This year has been wild. And it's not just on YouTube, it's happening on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Kick. Everywhere there is someone who is doing something that people consider to be nefarious, which is sad. Especially in this situation where you look at YouTube's golden boy, the person that's the most subscribed YouTuber on the platform, and it turns out this person is really a fraud. They put on an act for the camera, and then behind the scenes, they're a completely different person. And I wouldn't say that the bad stuff he's doing invalidates any of the good he's done, but it does make people think to stop supporting this particular person if they're going to behave a different way when the cameras are off. Because people thought that they were supporting something genuine, something true. So when they saw that it wasn't, they get irritated, they get mad, get frustrated. Yeah, I wasn't a Mr. Beast follower or anything. I didn't follow his platform like that. I think I had followed him on Twitter, but then I stopped following him. But either way, this situation is horrible. It's horrendous. And as days and days go on, I'm expecting the big bomb to drop, because there's definitely something bigger that's going to drop. And that is the thing I'm waiting on. Like, what is the thing that makes this much, much worse? How does this get worse? Because I get the feeling it will get worse. So bad thing is, before all this Mr. Beast stuff had actually come out, I did record a discussion about Ava Chris Tyson, about what I thought about the situation involving her dealing with grooming and inappropriately talking to minors. I had made that discussion, and I remember saying in that discussion, I know things are going to get worse. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. A different shoe dropped, and now I'm waiting for the other one to drop. That's basically it. And it's one of those things where you see these people online, they're perpetually online, so you would think, hey, maybe this person is being their genuine self. Not everyone. And Mr. Beast, both the company and the person, are in this situation based on their own actions. Which is getting to be apparent. I understand that there's multiple sides to every story. There are multiple takeaways from situations. There are multiple perspectives to be considered. But there's also a general human rule that the majority of us kind of try to follow. And it comes down to when you know that someone has been convicted of something, generally, you don't want to bring that person into an atmosphere that may be scrutinized for having their presence there. But also, there's no way you can tell me that you've been in a Discord with a person that you know who has been talking to kids in suggestive language, and you don't know that they're doing it. Even if you weren't in there that often, I'm pretty sure you might have popped in once or twice at least and seen what was said. It's hard to prove that, though. But there's also the illegal lotteries and things. It's predatory towards children. Which is the ironic thing, because this started off with someone being predatory towards children. So it's like, hey, my friend is doing this horrible thing. I'm going to disengage with them. I'm going to say, yeah, I don't agree with these behaviors. These things are awful, and this is disgusting. This is not something I would want to have in my presence. And then you turn around and we find out that, hey, you've been doing something similar, just in a different context. Again, for the people that don't follow, that weren't subscribed, that weren't watching his videos, looking in from the outside, he seemed like a decent dude. It seemed like a decent operation, like people were being helped and things were being taken care of. But then you come down to find out the manipulation tactics that were used and things like that, and it comes off gross. You shouldn't put someone in a situation where they need to have money from you in order to be able to survive, so that you can manipulate and twist them into doing things that will make them look horrible and make you look squeaky clean. It's disgusting. And it also sucks because when I look at when stuff like this happens, when bigger content creators do things that cause a panic or a frenzy among the advertisers, YouTube tends to do things that mar the rest of the platform, but don't actually affect the bigger content creators. Like Logan Paul's stunt going through that forest in Japan, knowing that there would be dead bodies in that forest because it was called the Suicide Forest. He went in there knowing the situation and still recorded it. Hey, what he does ends up creating punishment for everyone else but him. Everybody beneath him, as far as the rankings on YouTube are considered, got hurt by that. One way or another. Some people it was minor, some people it was major. Then there were the channels that were showing off, like where families were doing stuff, and a lot of them were big in number. And we had PDF files going ahead and making comments under those videos that got put out. And I can't blame the content creators on that one. I do blame the disgusting people that were in the comments on that one. But I think if I would have seen stuff like that in my own comment section, I would have purged it. I would have just purged it. I wouldn't have left it there. So maybe they hold a minor blame, not trying to be funny, but maybe they hold a minor blame in that situation because they kind of treated it neglectfully. But it's not their direct fault that stuff happened. It is just horribly gross. And now we have this happening. I'm pretty sure there was another situation before there, but now we have this happening. And there's been a lot of covering up stuff. There's been a lot of removal of things from videos. And people have proven it. That's the worst part. People have proven it. And I'm looking at this and it's like, you guys are screwed if you try to take this type of stuff to court. Because immediately you're tampering with evidence. You're immediately tampering with evidence by trying to change things and edit stuff out. And people with Wayback Machines are going to be able to... People using the Wayback Machine are going to be able to tell. They're going to be able to tell. So at this point, it's bad for everyone. And just to focus on the Ava Chris Tyson stuff, because I didn't release that separate discussion because all this other stuff came out. And this is mostly directed towards people who are parents. Parents. I don't care how much your kid loves a particular content creator. They like to follow them. They like to listen to them. You do not allow your child on their own to interact with that adult. That is not someone who has been in their life on a regular, constant basis. That is not someone that you give free access to them. If you're worried about their safety, worried about their comfort, worried about their mental health, you do not give another person who is not reputable to you in any way, shape, or form beyond they are associated with someone else who has a good reputation. You do not give them full, unfettered access to your child. Because that's how we got the Chris Tyson situation going down the way it was. As Chris Tyson, this person had access to other people's kids, teenagers, and made disgusting jokes with them, calling them daddy. If I had seen that as a parent, I had seen that, I would be questioning that. Like, this is demented in a way, but like, I wouldn't be allowing that. And I would have seen him be like, nah, Firstly, I need their direct contact for me so I can tell them something. But you're out of there. You're not being a part of that. And even worse, now think about it. You try to have kids sign NDAs If I remember correctly, that's legal. That's not legal. You can't have a child sign any sort of document like that without their parents' consent. Now, in the situation where the guy, I can't remember the name right now, if he signed an NDA and his parents okayed it, then they're probably in the clear. But if he signed an NDA and his parents didn't know about it, that is legally not binding, because he needs adult consent. He needs guardian consent at that point, because I believe he was like 13 or 14 at the time he would have signed that. So that's something to consider. But the gross thing is letting someone have unfettered access to your children. Again, you don't know this person. You don't know anything about them other than they are known for being the friend of someone who has a positive reputation. There are a lot of people like that in the world who use someone else's positive reputation to do things disgusting and discreet in the shadows. I mean, let's all just look back at Subway Jared for a moment. His best buddy. Both of them were corrupt. But Jared had an outstanding reputation for the longest time. His buddy, not so much. He was definitely grimy, but he used Jared's good reputation to bolster himself. So that's something to consider. That's something to think about. It's important to know who your children are dealing with, who they have in their lives that you may not have known, or you may not know. And that's an important thing to consider. That's an important thing to think about. And so the Ava Chris Tyson situation didn't even have to get as far as it did if the parents were more involved. I understand not knowing everything, all the ongoings and online communities and stuff, if that's just not your thing. I understand that. But you should at least have some idea of the things that are being shared to your child and the things that are being said. I was thinking about the fact that Discord server had to be wiped of not safe for work content when there were teenagers on the server before it was made public. That in and of itself should say more than enough at how gross this situation is. That itself should say far more than enough at how gross this situation is. Because if you had to scrub a Discord server of nude images that you have children on, then there is a very big problem, especially if those children had access to those images. Again, just something to think about. But back to the complete Mr. Beast situation that ironically does border on being predatory towards children, but different perspective, different scope. If you run a contest and the only way to get a prize from the contest is to spend money, then you are running a lottery, technically. And on top of that, you can't change the rules of the lottery as you go, which was definitely being done. You're not allowed to change the rules of the lottery as you go. You can't say, okay, if everybody who responds to this, whoever makes a comment in the next 5 minutes wins a Lamborghini, and you get 5,000 comments in that 5-minute time span, guess what? You gotta give out 5,000 Lamborghinis. You can't say, oh, well, among the first 100 people who reply, there will be a drawing done and you'll win a Nintendo Switch. Then you get down to 150 comments. Oh, we're just going to throw in the extra 50 comments and give them all an opportunity, because at that point you're changing the odds. You're rigging the system. And you can't run a game show and intentionally disadvantage one side versus the other. I'm talking about outside help, not like stuff that's in the game that causes a disadvantage, but outside help. Like, meaning you can't pay off a player to leave so that that player isn't there to help their team. Just food for thought. Now, technically, stuff on YouTube would generally fall outside of the general broadcasting standards, but we also have TV companies who put their stuff on YouTube. Broadcasting networks put their shows on YouTube. So at some point, the FCC is going to have to get involved in this, which is another thing that people have to think about. But I'm not going to drag on. I think I've said enough. I've said enough to be understood. And again, Mr. Beast isn't really my cup of tea particularly. So I'm not going to be here doing a long-winded grandstand. I think I've already talked long enough. Main point for me is people need to be careful of what they are supporting and who they are supporting, and what they're allowing their kids to be wrapped up in. Because if someone's telling you, hey, buy this shirt and there'll be a $500 cash prize in it for you, a kid hears that and they think that that's going to happen. It's like, oh, I can bug my parents for this money. Maybe money we don't have. I can bug them for this money and we can get that $500 and maybe it'll do something good for us. Only to find out that the child bought the shirt and didn't get the money that they thought they were going to get, because children are highly impressionable. And the kid might have wanted to do something nice for their family. So there, I'm done. Yeah, that'll be it for me. Peace out, everybody. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. If you would be interested in supporting my efforts in content creation, please head on over to Amazon and look up The Game Idea Guy Presents Gaming Word Search, and you will find both Volume 1 and Volume 2 up for sale. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to be able to create more content for you in the future. Peace out.